Me and Morgan are awake, and we didn't get our free breakfast this morning. We haven't had free breakfast any of the 3 mornings we've been here, even though all of our hostels have offered free breakfast. The first morning we missed free breakfast because we had to wake up so early to go to Northern Ireland. The second morning we missed breakfast because we had to wake up so early to go to the airport. And this morning we missed breakfast because we were so tired from waking up early that we decided to sleep in a little bit. So hopefully tomorrow we'll get free breakfast. We took a walking tour, and this is where we met up with the group, right by the statue of the Duke of Wellington. He's apparently the most statued man in all of England, but that's mainly because he built a lot of statues to himself.
A massive memorial to, or monument to yourself, named after you. It actually was even grander than that at the time because it also had a big statue of the Duke on top. So yeah, imagine the quadriga's not there.
Our guide then told us about the historic break-ins at Buckingham Palace, which is right over that wall right there. And one of the historic break-ins actually involved a German family, and they had decided that they were going to camp in Hyde Park, and that was going to be a way that they were going to save money. And they were looking at the map, and they thought, well, if this is Green Park right here, Hyde Park's right next to it, and Hyde Park might be right there over the wall. So they threw their camping gear over the wall, and they're like, this is an odd way to get to a park, but they climbed the wall and they pitched a tent and camped in the backyard. And it wasn't until the next morning when they were walking around and walked up to a police officer and said, excuse me, how do you get out of the park? When the police officer was like, how did you get here? But there's actually a brigade of cavalry passing right there. Here we are outside of Buckingham Palace. You can see it through the gate. The changing of the guard is just happening now, but it's kind of hard to see. It's not as accessible as the changing of the guard in Washington, D.C., but the band outside actually plays music during the changing of the guard. Up on the flag there, you see the 4 flags of the different countries. Wales doesn't get its own flag, but there's Wales, Scotland, England, and Northern Ireland. And so it sits on top of Buckingham Palace, and if that flag is up, it means the Queen is in the palace. If it's not, and the normal Union Jack is up, then they are not. The Queen is not in the palace. This is kind of where you can take a picture with the different standing guards. And this part right here is actually where the square hosts many events, such as during the Olympics, the sand volleyball was held right out here. And you might notice it was interesting, there's no trash cans thanks to the many IRA bombings back several years ago. And so they have taken out all of the trash cans. I even got to be Guy Fawkes in an example of him being tortured to give up his co-conspirators as a part of a plot to blow up the Parliament building.
Fingernails and rip. Out they go. Rip, next one. Rip, in turn, all the way down. Tell us who your co-conspirators are. No. Right, okay, next hand. Out they all come. Internet.
Here in the background you can hear the bells going crazy at Westminster Abbey. Morgan said she saw on the news that the Queen was visiting Westminster Abbey that day, and so that could be the reason why the bells are just ringing off the hook right here. This is the Victoria Gardens. There's Morgan.
That's the Parliament building.
Yeah, it's the Parliament building. The flag on top of that building is about the size of a tennis court, to give a little bit of perspective as to how large that building is right there. All right, right here you can see the London Eyes right there. There's Queen Elizabeth's Tower right there, and that's the building that we just looked at. There's the flag. And then there's here's the Parliament building from the other side of the Thames. Here's the Tower of London Bridge, and right next to it, to the left, is the Tower of London.
Are you gonna take a video?
Oh,
Are you taking one?
yeah. Say something smart and interesting.
We're crossing the Tower of London Bridge, and apparently I just learned that London is different than London City, I guess.
City of London.
The City of London, which is much smaller than we thought it was. I think it's right over here.
CGP Grey actually has a great video if you want to click on this link to learn more about the City of London. But this is the wall of the City of London from back in the day, built on top of the old Roman wall.
So, in England, we used an axe, okay? So I think it was you who said an axe. Okay?
Here,
So
our
an
guide
axe,
on our next tour is talking about the many beheadings that took place at this very spot. And this tour covered much of the beheadings and much of the Jack the Ripper story. Now, this is a part of town actually where Jack the Ripper would have walked, and this next church is actually the street right here is the divider street between the rich City of London and the poor East London, and where many of the prostitutes would have been walking up and down looking for business.
That's actually I suppose, a memorial of sorts to Chaucer. He had a house somewhere around here, but the wall actually used to come through here. So, what you have is you've got a church there, because that's what it looks like, okay? And the Gherkin was built...
Our guide is talking about this building, calling it the Gherkin, which means pickle, and because it looks like a giant pickle. And it's an infamous building now in the City of London.
In Jack the Ripper's time. The style of the shop fronts is all very authentic, not original of course, but very authentic. And people would have lived above these shops.
So walking through this abbey right here, minus the modern lighting, this is one of the best preserved little alleyways that would have existed back in the 1800s, when Jack the Ripper was doing his killing.
They were all known by the people who ran the 10 mouths. This was the ladies' watering hole. It's where they went for a social drink and to no doubt garner a bit of extra business.
And okay, now we're gonna go to sleep, even though Diamondbacks game does start soon, and I'd really like to watch it. So that's the worst part about time differences, is not being able to watch sports, and it not being in soccer season, so there's like literally no sports.
We've been walking like 50 miles today.
Yeah, we legitimately probably walked more than 10 miles today. London is very big, and we walked for like from 11 o'clock in the morning until 1 o'clock. What time is it? 12:30. So from 11 o'clock in the morning we walked until like 12:30 at night, with probably two 1 hour breaks, maybe another half hour spread in there, and so that was our day. Our feet are very tired.
Sea coach experience? Oh, no, absolutely not. It was the conversation during that little spell. We stepped things up a little bit now. Got a white hot fire, branding irons waiting nicely in there till they're red and white hot. Out they come. Tell us what your coach experience are. You're thinking about it, but no. Considering it. No is your answer. Okay, down go the branding iron.